G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Note the Banksia flower on the professional rain gauge, spelt in the British Imperial fashion. Which I bought yesterday. Regarding the Banksia flower, Nita is a division of Husqvarna Australia Proprietary Limited. And right now, as you can hear, the rain is falling into the funnel. The funnel is depositing the rain into the inner scale gauge, which is contained in an outer clear bucket, so that if you get more than 25 mils, the overflow is contained, so that you can then use the funnel to pour the overflow back into the inner rain gauge and measure it in 25 mil increments up to a total of 250 millimeters. And considering that in 1 week both the 20-year-old and the 10-year-old rain gauges had both expired, and out of interest's sake, I could have bought a new replacement for this one yesterday for about $8. For $11, I could have bought a functional replacement for this one, but I decided to go for the rain gauge, which is designed for the seriously anally retentive rainfall observer. It's marked in 1/2 millimeter increments. So it's 10 millimeters measured with a ruler for every actual millimeter indicated. We have had 1.5 inches worth of evaporation in the last week. So having had some sunny days, I have been able to apply first a 70-watt solar panel to all 3 banks of 6-volt batteries. And when they were too tender to take the 70-watt panel, I put a 30-watt panel on the batteries. At least yesterday, this pair got the 30-watt panel all day, while I finally got around to the daunting task of removing this old thing, which is probably 25 or 30 years old, and I got it given to me for free, and it might have been putting 3 watts into the system perhaps, and its place has now been taken by the 70-watt new panel, which is actually putting out 50.1 watts. I'm getting another 51 watts out of those 3 30-watt panels between them. The gallium arsenides on the ends, they're putting out 22 watts each. So the 15-year-old 30-watt panel in the middle at the top row, it's putting out, about 7 watts, 7.5 watts. But I've got about 101 watts at the moment. 3 12-volt banks of 225 amp hour batteries, which on current indicators look as if they're only maybe 20%, 15% degraded. If they're 20% degraded, considering that the new set which replaced these cost $1,400, then if I can successfully resuscitate these and put them into service as deep cycle house lighting batteries, it's about $1,100 worth of free batteries. And that's really good, because these ones are currently performing with a storage efficiency of approximately 10%, so they're 90% cactus. We've even got 0.2 of an amp of current in the rain. And the sparkly, shiny, new anally retentive rain gauge says that we've had 3 millimetres today. So, my driveway will be becoming a mud pie. And now, before I end the video on the anally retentive rain gauge, herewith the update on the anally retentive battery resuscitation project. I haven't measured the specific gravity since day 2, and I haven't measured the individual 6-volt cells since day 3. As you can tell, for easier separation of the results, I'm using 3 different colours of ink. And I'm tracking each bank of batteries horizontally across the page. So I'm keeping track of how much current goes in and what the voltage is, and coming up with a figure for how many amp hours have gone in. Bank 1's had 20.55 amp hours. This morning it was holding 12.81 volts, up from 12.68 on acceptance. Bank 2, which is the bank that I'm pretty sure contains the cells that were doped with extra acid because they'd boiled away so much fluid you couldn't get any reading on a hydrometer. It was showing 12.75. Only had 11 amp hours go into it. It was holding 12.85 on its first morning, 12.81 second morning, 12.78 this morning. So I'm looking forward to a sunny day to put it on the 30 watt panel and see how it goes. Bank 3, which had the lowest voltage on acceptance out of all 3 of them, it's had 22.1 amp hours go into it. Now the reason I take such pains to monitor the batteries by hand is because I want to keep them voltage wise in what is otherwise considered a kind of a dangerous zone to be in, because if you get above 15.3 volts you start forcing water into the lead plates and they swell and you've just about killed the battery. So here you'll see we reach 14.91 volts, and then it goes down to 14.87, 0.81, 0.76, 0.7, 0.66, 0.63, all with 3.6 or 3.7 amps worth of current going in. And what's happening is the plaques of insoluble insulating lead sulfate are being literally boiled off the plates of the battery, and I'm hoping to acquire more reactive surface to the plates without getting above the dreaded 15.3 volts where you destroy the whole system. But essentially, if I can bring this bank, which hasn't been on the 30 watt panel, and this bank, which has been doped and hasn't been on the 30 watt panel, up to roughly the same performance and storage efficiency as this lot, if we consider this ancient chart that used to be pinned to my door, we have storage capacity up to 100% along this edge. We have volts from 10.5 to 13.2 along the bottom, and up this side we have specific gravity with 1.300 at the top and 1.000 or water down at the bottom. So 12.8 volts, if we just run straight up that line to the divider and then come across here, we can see we're looking at 85% of a original rated charge being stored and held 12 hours after charging. So yeah, if that's optimistic, if it's closer to 80%, then it's still a $1,100 free battery deal. The only thing that I have to put into it is the time and the effort and the obsessiveness to resuscitate the new batteries before I put them into the pyramid and put them into service. And let's face it, it's a rainy day. And I've had the radio still drawing current. I've got a 20 watt light on there. I've got an 8-watt light on there, even when it's raining, and the panels are actually facing the wrong way, drawing 3 amps out of the battery bank. It's still holding 12 volts. Panel voltage 12.1. And there's no current going in right at the moment. Probably because it's facing the wrong way. 4.7 amp hours so far today. I'll just fix that and get the panels facing the brightest part of the sky, like so. We come back in and have another look. 12.1, battery voltage has gone up. 12.2, panel voltage has gone up. 0.2 of an amp going in. Still 4.7 amp hours for the day. However, that particular recording device, you have to multiply the readings by 1.19, so we're slightly over 5 amp hours. And there you see the advantage of having a trackable solar array. Yes, it takes more time to build. Yes, if you haven't got yourself an automatic tracking system, then you have to go and manipulate the damn thing manually. But it means that on a rainy day, you get some power going in. Whereas if you've got your panels nailed flat to the roof, you've got a very narrow little window of time during which you can harvest sunlight. Here endeth the anally retentive Rainguage movie with solar resuscitation of storage batteries thrown in. Warbles on like the YouTube. Ciao.